Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Weekend Recap, where we will give you the good, the bad, and the latest inside news as we begin a new era in the world of professional wrestling. As we talk about Raw Monday nights, NXT Tuesday nights, Wednesday belongs to AEW Dynamite Solid, Thursday nights Impact Wrestling, and Friday Night SmackDown, as you know, Friday nights. And of course, on Saturday nights, there's only one place in town where you can hear of everything that took place. If you missed any of those shows by chance, here on the Wrestling Weekend Recap on the Ace One Armageddon channel. And of course, we'll begin with our infamous disclaimer saying that everything that we say and state is strictly our opinion and it does not reflect necessarily the views of the platform that we're on. And you know which one we're on, the only one, or the wrestling companies that we talk about. And now, don't have a cow. Man. Jay, we begin a whole new we've begun a whole new chapter this week. I never thought that we would actually see or seen what we just seen, because supposedly this got started precisely last year, and because unfortunately of the pandemic, that just threw everybody's expectations to the ground. It surprisingly just changed within an instant, and that brought a lot of games down. The only ones that stood intact was obviously WWE and AEW, for that matter. They were the only ones still doing business. But now, at least from what we saw. But of course, little by little, everything started to come back, and now we're seeing what we've been seeing, of course, as of late. We've been seeing business relationships that AEW has formed with Impact Wrestling, with New Japan. NWA started to come back, and like I mentioned before, the only negative now is that their platform is officially Fight TV and no longer YouTube, which is a huge minus for us because we don't have the Fight TV app at our disposition. So nonetheless, we are going to talk of the companies that obviously we get to. And then on top of that, the majority of the NWA wrestlers are actually moving forward to either AEW Dynamite or Impact Wrestling or any of the other, companies that are out there, or even, indie companies as well. But nonetheless, we are going to get this show started with the latest blockbuster inside news that took place ever since Wednesday morning. A dozen WWE wrestlers have been released. And this was something that obviously we've heard and experienced since last year with numerous superstars that have been released at the time. And obviously because they're trying to way around because of either contracts coming up or commitments not being fulfilled, or they won't be able to pay these talents the money that they deserve, or it could be almost anything. But we don't know the exact solid facts of why these superstars got released, but it's been done. There's no takebacks, and in some ways it is disappointing to hear, but that's the way the business is. And I'm pretty sure we'll definitely hear about these names as we're about to mention them in just a few moments. We wish all of these superstars well in their future endeavors, wherever they end up, whatever they do next. God bless them. And we just hope that we hear that they're in better places after this. So the superstars that have been released since Wednesday morning are as follows: Billy Kay, Mickey James, Chelsea Green, Tucker, Kalisto, Wesley Blake, Peyton Royce, Bo Dallas, Mojo Rawley, and for us, the one that I believe was a major let go, and that's none other than Samoa Joe. We know that Samoa Joe has not been seen in the ring since maybe the middle to late last year, I believe, because of an injury. And all he has been doing, of course, has been commentating for Monday Night Raw. But I heard also before he got released, they were going to let him be back on the roster. But the thing of it is, he's still not cleared to get back into a wrestling ring. So pretty much the deal of it is that they were going to have him be out of his commentator routine and to be back as an active superstar once he was cleared to get back into the ring. But unfortunately, that opportunity has not come for him to do so, and they had to let him go. In a way, I guess it kind of hurts to me because, and I don't know how you feel, I'm going to get your reaction in a moment. But we equally have witnessed Joe since TNA Wrestling, an incredible competitor, an incredible athlete, who we've seen him do so much in the business. We've seen him have great matches with people. I can think of AJ Styles. I can think of Sting. I can think of Kevin Nash. I can think of Christopher Daniels. I can think of so many other wrestlers. Doesn't matter from which company or even in TNA. But we got to see him do his stuff. I remember when he did the whole angle of the Nation of Violence with Taz. That would be an incredible thing. That was an incredible thing to witness. And him winning numerous championships around the world. I heard before that he was a part of Ring of Honor. He had bouts with Daniel Bryan, or Bryan Danielson at that time. And when he got to WWE, when he got to NXT, I'm all like, yes. He landed into the huge big time and, had incredible bouts there. Once he landed on the main roster, precisely on Monday Night Raw, and he's been there for the longest time. Incredible bouts with Randy Orton. I believe he had fights with John Cena as well. He almost stood up to, and I think he stood up to Brock Lesnar as well. So, Joe has made a lot of memories. I hope this isn't the end for him. I hope one day he gets to make up his mind to come back to wrestling. Doesn't matter where he ends up. Maybe AEW or maybe back in Impact Wrestling. But I want to hopefully AEW would be the spot for him, because I believe, he can make it truly big there with all them cats and, wrestlers there. But yeah, it is a devastating loss that WWE had to let him go.
I just want to point out that yes, like you mentioned, last year could have come at a worse time for the sports team industry, knowing that there was a pandemic and pretty much many superstars' fates were pretty much in question. But the way how I take it is that other than the pandemic aside, which hopefully we all come out of. For me, the issue with the company is the fact that they didn't find anything. Well, other than I'm not saying about Samoa Joe, since Samoa Joe was injured, but for all the others, they didn't find them in proper or useful aspects or angles within the company to be utilized, and pretty much that's the key for right now. It's pretty much the patterns that we saw last year is like where you pretty much have a roster full of talent that you pretty much can depend on. It's like the one thing WWE cannot afford to be is narrow-minded and say, okay, we rely on them more, we rely on him more, we rely on her more. That's not the way to go, because pretty much when you least expect it, even I mean right now WWE is not as stable as I think right now. As much as I hate to say it, they are making mistakes, not big mistakes, but mistakes nonetheless. So pretty much what I would say, because it is. I mean, even though we may not root for some of these talents, but pretty much it may be finances, but for me it's the internal side of the company that's pretty much why they were stuck in limbo, and pretty much as to why they made one unexpected decision after another. I mean, but we'll see where these individuals will end up, whether they will still wrestle or not. But pretty much is like, all we can do as human beings, and wish them the best that they got going on in life.
Yeah, like I mentioned, this was a big shock to say the least, that that some of these names were mentioned, especially Samoa Joe. I mean, for us, it was really a hit nonetheless, and we just hope that we hear good news with all these men and women that have been released, and hopefully they have found their given window of opportunity somewhere down along the line as they move forward with their lives. But we also kind of figured that, for some of them, this was going to be somewhat like, close to the end of the rope, or the end of their road, or things like that. Like, for example, Mickie James, she already gave, I believe she already hit her peak a long time ago with WWE. She came back for just one more ride, and I believe that ride has been completed, but she still feels that she can give more, from what I heard. And another thing that I heard, supposedly, if not that she would actually go for color commentating as well, because in one of the reports that I have witnessed is that Mickie James was on the set of Stand and Delivered to actually call a match. So I don't know if that was like a picture teaser or a spoiler, because I haven't heard anything official about that. Could be me, or it could have been them. I don't know if it was maybe photoshopped or something. But if she can't get back in the ring yet again, then she would go for definitely color commentating. What am I thinking here? Chelsea Green, I don't think they got from her as much, and I believe that was truly a waste. With Tucker, they should have never broken him up away from Otis, because Heavy Machinery, at least, that was one of my, close to being one of my all-time favorite tag teams that existed. Kalisto was a big disappointment that they had to let him go. That kid has got talent, major talent, but I believe now he's going to be more valuable elsewhere. Like if he goes to AEW or maybe Impact, or even back to Mexico, he's still going to have value. That I believe strongly. Members of the Iconics, now we'll see what's going to be in store for them, if they're going to come back together, if they're going to go their separate ways. We don't know what's going to happen to them. Bo Dallas, we don't know what was the deal with him. Supposedly the latest rumors were that he ended up doing the crispy fried rehashing of The Fiend, but we don't know if that was actually ever true. But those were pretty much the rumors that I heard last mentioning his name. Mojo Rawley, another character that's like been there, done that. They gave him chances time and time again, but that was pretty much it. Wesley Blake, the only thing that I can recall was Forgotten Sons. That was it. So obviously they're not going to have anything for him. Excuse me. But nonetheless, we wish each and every single individual, good tidings, and for them to hopefully find an open window for them to see what's going to be next in their lives as they move forward after this devastating let go from the company. And we here at Wrestling Weekend Recap wish them well on their future endeavors. As we move on from this huge blockbuster, we can definitely do a little short recap of this past weekend's WWE's busy schedule, the one that we never thought that we would ever witness, having to do shows back to back to back to back. We got to talk about NXT TakeOver, Stand and Deliver. To me, is one of the best takeovers that I have ever seen in years, and I mean in years. I mean this anticipation, this energy, this hyping anticipation just been building, and until we got 2 nights of NXT TakeOver action, it was just incredible to watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed it from beginning to end. It's like nothing I have ever seen or probably will see. Again, we'll see what happens next year. There will be another 2-night takeover, but nonetheless, it was one of the best takeovers I have ever witnessed as a fan of that show. I was looking forward to definitely some numerous matches for them to score off the charts. Having to see Io Shirai, Raquel Gonzalez became the NXT Women's Champion. She mostly deserves it. Nonetheless, her reign has begun. This past Tuesday on NXT, we'll get into that. Having to see Finn Balor and Karrion Kross, finally we got to see our answer of who was going to be the standout champion. Both men gave one hell of a performance. I had my feelings on Finn Balor staying champion, but Karrion, something told me in split feeling that Karrion was going to take this one because he's getting back the championship that he really never lost because of an injury, so many months before having to do this event. And Karrion Kross is back as a champion. Can't wait to see finally how his run is going to begin. Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly, man, it is something else. It really is. Here, I never thought I would actually buy in to such a personal, twisting grudge match between two guys who were supposedly brothers. Obviously, one, I believe, was the conscience of the group, Undisputed Era, and the other one was just all about his egotistical self. And we should have known. And something told me it was going to be time that his true colors were going to break out. And we finally saw that explode. And at TakeOver Stand and Deliver, man, that match just went off the charts. And we will get into, as we talk about NXT, what happened on Tuesday. Of course, we will discuss that bit once again, and we will get into the audio of what happened as the show went off the air, the aftermath of them two ended up going to the emergency room, and Cole still had, oh my God, was still so irate and had the energy to just, cuss out O'Reilly and let him know it's like, hey, I'm not done with you, man. We are going to get it on again. I promise, just to get rid of the cuss words. But yeah, man, this is far from over. He says this is far from over. But the rest of the show for Wednesday and Thursday was incredible. I'm glad that I got to see it on Peacock first, night one. And of course, they had a little bit more to show. Unlike, of course, USA Network, where I did ended up DVRing it, watched it back, and of course, they had some, picture to picture, and of course, they had commercials, which was a negative. But nonetheless, it scored big on Peacock. I'm pretty sure of that. Same thing with Thursday. Thursday was definitely a bomb to see. Night two for NXT Stand Deliver. It was a great show. We got it was incredible. I regret that we did not do a live reaction towards it, but nonetheless, we were so into both nights that even I told myself, it's like, damn, we should have made a live reaction towards that. We should have, because the stuff that we saw, man, it was just off the charts, man. Off the charts for sure. As we move on as well with WrestleMania, both nights. Both nights were incredible. The one thing that I did not expect was obviously that little bit of rain delay that hold off the beginning of the show. And we barely got into the WrestleMania live event just a little bit late. But I guess we didn't even miss much because once we got in, we were seeing that it was a rain delay. We were seeing that superstars in the back being interviewed and doing promos, which was good because obviously all of this was off script, and they had to come up with something just to keep the viewers glued in so that they don't leave off of Peacock or leave off of the network in general. So they let them know it's like, hey, stick with us. Let's let this weather get past, and we can definitely get on with the show. So WWE and its officials did a good job in trying to hold it together without even set up in a panic button and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe this had to start right now." Like, geez, man, what the heck's gonna happen next? It's like, no, everything was on the level. All the superstars that were holding it on together until it was ready for the show, and the show got started. Yes, most definitely. So as far as WrestleMania, we did get to see some pretty good matches. The ones that I was waiting for me was definitely the triple threat for night two. Edge, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns. And my surprise, I did not expect to see the finish that they did, but I understood why it had to happen. Here I thought Edge was going to take it all the way, and that would complete his comeback after being out for 9 years with that injury that he had. And he just barely came back to the Royal Rumble last year as part of the Rumble. And this year's Royal Rumble, he conquered it to get to a championship because, of course, he's going to claim a championship that after 9 years, he never lost as well. So supposedly this would complete his comeback picture. But unfortunately, it didn't went down that way because, it is set for Roman Reigns to still be a dominating champion, to be that head of the table figure, to be the man that is behind the magnetic attraction of SmackDown, and for people to tune in to Friday night to see how this man is keeping it together. And we were almost on the verge of seeing Roman Reigns crack down. And that didn't happen. And I believe Edge was a little bit behind it. Maybe Daniel Bryan as well. But he kept this cool, and he kept on the path of, hey, I'm here to dominate, to get my paycheck, to do this for my family, and bam, until the next Friday night it'll be. Definitely in tune for that. Still, it was a shocking finish. That was one of 3 matches that I thought my predictions was going to be right, and it ended up being wrong. That was one. Bobby Lashley retained his WWE Championship and defeated Drew McIntyre with the distraction of MVP. Here I thought McIntyre was going to get it back, and no, that's not the case. On a part of it, it was kind of ballsy, but at the end of it all, I kind of understand because yes, now you want to build up Bobby Lashley at this point, which is nothing wrong. But if they're gonna do it now, then hopefully WWE doesn't screw it up. That's all I gotta say. And what was another match that I predicted that did not go my way? I think that's gonna come up to me as we get onto this because I'm not gonna even. The Intercontinental Championship between Big E and Apollo Crews. Here I thought Big E was gonna retain, but no. The arrival of Dabba-Kato, now dubbed as Commander, right? Commander Aziz.
Yes.
That's his new gimmick. We just found out about it as well on Sunday. And it's barely sinking in on us since this past Friday we got to see them two together. Now we can't wait to see how this is going to pay off Apollo Crews to build up his character with the pride of Nigeria on his back. Same thing with Commander Aziz. Can't wait to see how all of this is going to turn out for sure. Other matches, took place for the entire WrestleMania. The biggest talk of the town during WrestleMania was definitely the match that Bad Bunny with Damian Priest as they faced The Miz and John Morrison had this past Saturday. And oh my God, the talk of the town was media everywhere. Media everywhere were applauding Bad Bunny's performance, from the artists to the tabloids to freaking TMZ to ET to all of those programs, to even the superstars, the wrestling superstars, retired or active, doesn't matter. Big kudos to Bad Bunny and his performance. We gave Bad Bunny his kudos as well. We just couldn't believe that this guy busted ass because he wanted to make this match legit. And I expected him to, because obviously if he grew up watching these characters in WWE from the past all the way leading up to the future, he wants to own up to say, hey, I want to start something. I want to build some sort of a legacy. I want to start something in WrestleMania. I want to end up with the high notes. And he did. He succeeded. So, Bad Bunny, it was awesome to see you fulfill a dream at WrestleMania. Now we're going to see you get back to your music tour. We know that you're going to come to Chicago in the month of March in 2022. And cannot wait for your fans to receive you back with open arms and give one of the greatest musical performances, just like how you would do with everything that you do musically. Keep those badass jams coming in. The last one that you came in with this past December, I enjoyed it thoroughly. On the title streaming, I blasted my freaking car with the bass. It's like, damn, man, this thing is really juicing. So, Bad Bunny, congratulations on a very well done performance, man. This one goes down in the history books for sure. So that's pretty much our recap with what happened this past weekend. Of course, the Hall of Fame. We are going to end it out with a Hall of Fame incredible one-night package. For Tuesday night, we got to see Class of 2020 get to do 2021. And just like how I predicted, they got their standing ovation from the crowd at WrestleMania this past weekend at the Raymond James Stadium, Class of 2020 on Saturday. And, of course, ending with NWO getting the highest ovation of all time, as well with the rest of the inducted members into the Hall of Fame. Same thing with Sunday night, Class of 2021. Everybody got the loudest pop. Also, Eric Bischoff got the loudest pop, but especially the Big Red Machine Kane deserved highly that loudest, hardest pop ever from that crowd this past Sunday night at WrestleMania. and incredible. WWE, hats off to you guys for making a WrestleMania weekend night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My God, you guys are an incredible machine during WrestleMania week. Congratulations to you guys. It was awesome. But now that that is over with, and we move on to begin a whole new era in professional wrestling / sports entertainment, I can't say that this past Monday on Raw, I like to call the WrestleMania aftermath for Raw. Uh, it was in her hats disappointing. Jade predicts that the next 8 months. I don't know if that's WWE in general or just for Raw that it's gonna be not as effective or it's not gonna be as worthy of watching.
I'm hoping it's not WWE in general, but I think Raw is.
Or Raw, pretty much.
Yeah, Raw, pretty much.
Well, state it. I mean, you got the microphone right here.
All right.
This is time because we hardly ever hear from you. Speak your thoughts.
Yes.
You got the open forum. I'm giving it to you. State your piece.
Okay.
Before we get
okay. If there's anything that I remember from last year and before this pandemic started, it's clearly evident that right now the problem with what was how WWE is handling Raw, since Raw, for all intents and purposes, is their key show. They're handling it very poorly, and I say numerous times because yes, we do find out that yes, talent has been let go, and I don't know if a portion of that talent was under the Raw roster. They probably were. I'm saying probably. Nevertheless, it's like you still have talent to lean on, but the negative that WWE is doing is that they're probably focusing more on they say, okay, we're gonna focus more on them. It's like, okay, WrestleMania is already in the rear. WrestleMania is already in the rear view. You got 8 months to give something satiable, something titillating to the WWE universe. You cannot say, okay, we it's not right to keep all these men and women in the backstage in the catering area because they say, oh, we got no plans for you. Now is the time to be imaginative. Now is the time to be creative, because the last thing, and I'm pretty sure for all of you watching right now, you're gonna be the same thing. You don't want to be like Grandpa Simpson watching Raw. You don't want to go for 8 months. For 8 months. I mean, now is the time for those on WWE to make sure they start getting their heads out of their rear ends and start putting the focus on Raw. You got talent, you gotta have creativity. It's not right to say, okay, just because the guy can draw, you're not. Just because the guy can draw, just because the woman can draw, just because this team can draw, you're just gonna leave it on the back burner. That's wrong. The most important lesson is that you have to let the fans decide, because that's who we are. We're a forum for fans about fans. I'm saying it not just as a podcast, but I'm saying it as a fan. It's not right to have talent stuck in the back with nothing to do when you can find something worthy to put them on. Because yeah, you do have a 2-hour show, but it's never right to say, okay, you have to focus more on this guy more. They say this guy can draw. No. As long as you have talent sitting in the back doing nothing, you're the one that's gonna get the egg in the face, because you don't want people like myself constantly go for 8 months. No, I don't want to do that. If that's gonna be the case then for 8 months, then they say come the next Monday on Raw, if they still don't give the audience something worthy to watch, they might as well just. They probably will just cast it aside and say, "Oh, let's see what other this cable channels they say." And hypothetically speaking, so in case I'm disappointed, I might as well watch soap operas on Telemundo. I find the soap operas on Telemundo more titillating that we see on Raw. I mean, for speaking, because yes, I do watch the Raw, but quite frankly, it's. I'm hoping that what we're seeing for 8 months is not totally boring, not totally embarrassing. And speaking of embarrassing, you got plenty to cover about last Monday's telecast.
Yes, we do. And wow, that was cold. You should have said that you could have just jumped to watch something for free on YouTube, like AEW's Dark Elevation. That's on Monday nights.
Yes, I would.
Because if it was me, and if Raw was already getting to the point where, like, remember back then when we were watching Nitro, when Vince Russo was still at its wits' ends, and we were still hanging out to see, like, what the hell are we watching here? And this was already, I remember, November of 2000.
Yes.
Nitro, I don't know what the hell they were doing, but we were losing interest. And what was happening already in WWE at that time, Stone Cold was ready to return, and he started his investigation on who ran the hell him over, and which we found out that ended up being Rikishi by orders of Triple H.
Yes.
So while that was going on, it's like, okay, yeah, now we got something really good to watch. With WCW. So we left that in the back burner. It looks like it may head this way if Raw keeps doing what they're doing. So it'll get to the point where, like, okay, Raw, I might as well watch AEW Dark Elevation, which I still do anyway, because not technically on Monday night, because here's what I have planned for what I watch. Everything I do DVR, I watch it late back, so I don't watch everything live. I don't watch anything live anymore, because for me, I'm already way backtracked with my favorite programming when it comes to watching anything on cable, anything YouTube, or anything soap opera wise. I mean, I pretty much DVR everything now. So God bless the DVRs that exist right now. So Raw, we end up watching it late. NXT, we end up watching it late. Everything that's AEW before Dynamite, we catch up to Dark Elevation, we catch up to Dark, and then we watch, of course, Dynamite. Then, of course, and then all of that late. Then we do Impact Wrestling late, and then, of course, we watch Friday Night SmackDown late. So we don't watch everything live, but we still watch it and still give our opinion about it. So let's jump right into it. This past Raw, so they got a new guy being the head commentator? Really? I don't feel the flow of it. So the guy's name is Adnan Virk. And I am not going to trash on this guy because I don't even know him. The only thing that we know is that he came from ESPN. Who gave him the opportunity? We don't know. Who is behind this pool? We don't know. Is this guy going to succeed? He sounds like Milli Vanilli. I don't even know who Milli Vanilli is. But he just sounds like an average Joe Schmo. But then again, it sounds like I'm trashing on the guy, so I might as well just stop here. But hopefully, for his sake, Corey Graves and who else is on
Byron Saxton.
And Byron Saxton coach this guy well for this guy to succeed. Because if he's going to be the head commentator for Raw, and if he doesn't get the job done, who's going to be held responsible for this guy failing for calling matches on Raw? Not just this guy who whoever from management put him in the seat. It'll be the person that hired him. Nonetheless, obviously, Raw had a different feel. It felt new because, we're done with WrestleMania. And so many things have taken place. I wasn't even all that fond of the entire show. There were a lot of things that did not make sense. There were things that were like, oh, okay, same thing of old. There were some things that took place like left me wonder to think. And there were other things that it's like, okay. So I believe what we're going to do here for all these different shows, we're going to do a beginning, a middle, and an end. So we're just going to pull out the three things that we thought, whether good or bad, I felt that actually, made some type of noise, reaction, or we feel that actually got a strong vibe during Monday Night Raw. So, The Viking Raiders, they came back. That we were happy with. Big time, because we missed Eric, we missed Ivar. Them two guys together. We've seen these two guys since Ring of Honor. Do you remember their old tag team name by any chance?
Yes.
What were they known as back then?
War Machine.
War Machine, man. Oh my God, these two guys were just incredible during Ring of Honor, and we were glad that we were watching Ring of Honor back then when these two guys were on. They were just a tag team to be reckoned with. Obviously, WWE saw these guys. They figured they got to sign them, which they did. In NXT, they came in with a different name, didn't they? Or were they War Machine?
No, they took the name when they came to NXT.
What was the name?
War Raiders.
Oh, War Raiders. There you go. So, yeah, War Raiders. Here we thought that by the time that they would end up being on the main roster that they would keep that name. But no, Vince McMahon just had to tweak the name. Call them the Viking Experience, first of all. With the finisher called the Viking Experience. And then I think it was the second week or the third week that they decided to tweak the name again. The Viking Raiders. Okay, that's acceptable. Minnesota Vikings, Oakland Raiders. Okay. Just to make sure that that name sticks in my head. But nonetheless, now you change their names. We know that now I don't even remember Raymond Rowe.
Mm-hmm.
And who was the name of the other guy?
Hanson.
Hanson, of course. Hanson, Raymond Rowe. Now Eric Ivar. But nonetheless, we know that Ivar was out with an injury. We haven't seen him, I think, for almost a year, year and a half, maybe?
7 months, probably.
7 months at the most. But Eric was still around, but he was still around floundering. You know, we got to see him on TV from time to time, but not as much. And once we see Eric, it's like, man, I wish Ivar would be back. And these guys would get back on the tag team scene and start terrorizing everyone all over again. So, Viking Raiders came back. They had a match with Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. Something new for once. This was fresh for them. But we knew eventually that the Viking Raiders, they were going to defeat this team. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, obviously, they're still one of the formidable teams that should have never left the Hurt Business to begin with. But there they are, you know, still holding on to the, shell, holding on to a shell of their former tag team selves. And, they took it to the Raiders. I'll give them that. It was a very exciting match, but at the end, Viking Raiders, they ended up winning. And I think because we were so ecstatic seeing them return, we're going to jump onto this clip and hear the audio because, for us, that was the only good thing. The only good thing that happened on Monday Night Raw. Everything else was just comparing apples and oranges, to be honest. So we're going to get into this. It's already the middle of the match. And obviously we're hearing the new updated commentary team. And obviously Cedric Alexander still screaming. We're like, dude, you used to do that with the Hurt Business. You're not with them anymore. You gotta scream like that.
Testament to the job, Cedric Alexander. He's still standing. Alexander now trying to use more elbows right now and some fists to the back. He tries to regroup after taking that vicious shot. Oh, not big boy. Thinking about the tag team division right now, and it's wide open. New Raw tag team champions AJ Styles and Omos. Cedric Alexander and Shelton more than Viking Raider. You're trying to get yourself in that conversation for a future title opportunity. There's a reason why the Viking Raiders want to prove that they're the premier tag team champion out there, and Cedric Alexander is trying to prove that he and Shelton Benjamin are more worthy of those accolades. With rapid fire elbow, was able to fight his way out of the grip of Eric. I'm going to drag Eric to the corner. Tag is made. I was curious about this aspect as well. The ring rust you might see from the Viking Raiders. Remember, Shelton Benjamin Cedric Alexander have been competing virtually every. Oh man, the knee right to the chin. That's a great point, Saxton. Oh! Big slam from Benjamin. Cover here. And the kick out at 2. If there was any questions about how he come back from injury, those have been answered here with this resounding set of blows. And how about that athleticism there? Seeing senton splash, flat and choke once again. Ivar looking unstoppable right now. Absolutely on fire as Ivar. Wonder when Shelton Benjamin can get the tag, and sure enough, Cedric Alexander there to help his teammate out. It's both guys right now taking a few shots. It takes 2 men to take down Eric Ivar. Ivar, a cartwheel. The cartwheel. Yes. The double clothesline. I miss Ivar's cartwheel. Tag is made back to Eric. Now Eric comes back. Oh my goodness. Watch this. This is how you use your.
Oh.
Man, good grief. Can they do this again? My goodness. The Viking experience. Oh baby, this could be it. The cover. And it's over. The Viking Raiders back with a bang. Here are your winners, the Viking Raiders.
An incredible comeback from these two guys, Eric and Ivar. We're glad to see that they're back on Monday Night Raw as the Viking Raiders. Like I said, it was one of the best things that happened this past Monday night on Raw. And like I said, everything else was pretty much small potatoes, but we'll give you the rundown anyway. The opening of the show, it had Bobby Lashley coming in like if he was a major superstar, and he was actually shaking hands with the WWE superstars. I thought he was a heel, and all of a sudden he's shaking hands with WWE superstars as he comes in. What the f is going on? Yeah, like I didn't get that. Nonetheless, afterwards, then Riddle comes in, and obviously, with his, like bro, I mean, Riddle's cool. I'm not gonna dump on Riddle. We all know that Riddle's cool with his personality and such. Even though MVP don't get it, even though Bobby Lashley don't get it, but nonetheless, Riddle wanted to challenge Bobby Lashley, and yet again, Bobby Lashley defeats Riddle. Also, what took place, Miz, Maurice, and Morrison, they've appeared, and it was cool that we see Maurice after a long while. I think ever since WrestleMania, maybe some years ago.
Yeah.
That was the last time we see Maurice, and of course they're co-promoting as well the startup again for Miz and Mrs. I'm way behind on this new season. I really got to catch up to it. Hopefully the first episode is still on my DVR. Otherwise, I'm going to have to wait until maybe the network gets those episodes. But I'm behind on that. I'm still stuck on the one episode where I think it was the previous season where Miz, Maurice, they were trying to get stuff for the kid, especially a stroller. And the one line that made me laugh is how they're pretending that the baby is asleep. And then just when they're about to get it out, they're like, "Hey! Chase, slip by."
Yeah, that's somebody going down the street starts honking the horn.
It was just funny. That was funny to me. But yeah, I got to catch up with Miz and Mrs. for sure. Man, there's I'm way backtracked on. What else? Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke. They had a segment backstage where, of course, at WrestleMania, because of the raid purge and the delay of the show or whatever, obviously there's still parts of the WrestleMania stage where it had puddles of water and all that. And unfortunately, Mandy Rose here, I thought that was Dana Brooke, and it wasn't even her. It was actually Mandy Rose that actually slipped from a puddle of water as they were heading down towards the ring for their match, for that tag team gauntlet match at WrestleMania for night 1. I'm like, oh my God. And here I thought it was Dana Brooke. but it was actually Mandy Rose. I'm all like, what happened to her? I'm all like, oh, poor darling. But as this past Monday has Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax that were laughing at Mandy Rose's misfortune, what they didn't know, or what Nia Jax didn't know, was that her misfortune was just about to begin. And surprisingly enough, Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, they obviously staged up a concocted plan for her. And Mandy Rose just set up Nia Jax and said, it's like, hey, I can actually laugh at myself. And da-da-da. So then that led it to a slap. And, of course, both of them, knocked down Nia Jax. And I think she ended up, falling all the way on the floor on her big A. And then in I guess it was a singles match. No, it was a tag match. And more misfortune for Nia Jax. I don't know if they're trying to build some sort of a misfortune role with Nia Jax to, make her look like she's some sort of klutz or whatnot. It's like, wow, you're definitely belittling this big girl. And does it attract? Yeah, as you would like to say for Grandpa Simpson.
That's a definite.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on, as we were leaving from the whole Miz and Mrs. thing, of course, Damian Priest had a handicap match with Miz and John Morrison. And because of the Miz's interference in the match, and with his freaking slacks already off of his body, and as they were heading up the ramp, and I looked at the Miz was already getting horn dogged with his wife already on national television. Get a room, damn it, or go home, damn it. Nonetheless, Miz and Morrison won their match. Other things that pretty much took place. The New Day had a tag team match with Elias and Jackson Riker because they felt that Scorpion and Sub-Zero felt that Elias and Riker disrespected, in the name of the tag team division of Monday Night Raw. So the Freeze Man and the Spearman needed to let them know how things work around the tag team division. I can't wait for the actual Mortal Kombat movie. April 23rd, it's already, next week?
Yep.
Ooh, man. Here I thought it was already going to happen early, but no, they had to delay that one. And I'm waiting for F9, but no, they had to delay that one too. Now we have to wait till June 22nd. And I want to see John Cena, I want to see John Cena as the heel for this movie to deliver as Dominic's evil brother. Can't wait for that movie, man. Tradition. Family tradition. So let's just jump into the second segment that we feel, whether good or bad, I believe caused a lot of attention, and that's the return of Charlotte Flair. So Charlotte Flair came back, and I believe she made a shoot on her promo on why she wasn't a part of WrestleMania weekend, of why the women's division don't want nothing to do with the Queen, and why opportunities are getting robbed by this individual and other things. So we already know the reason or the reasons why Charlotte wasn't a part of WrestleMania. A lot of things had to do with her former WWE superstar and current boyfriend Andrade, because he got let go. Also, there were rumors that supposedly Charlotte was pregnant, and if that would have been the case, she wouldn't have even made a shoot video to be on for Monday if that was really the case. Just a lot of misinformation, a lot of zigzagging, but what's really the truth? So Charlotte had the opportunity to be at Raw and to actually put everyone onto the eyes and ears to have their back straightened up by the one and only Charlotte and let them have it on what's really the deal with why she hasn't been seen on Raw and on WrestleMania these past few weeks.
On the Raw After And typically I'd be standing here with my big old Flair smile, but I wasn't on WrestleMania. I wasn't welcomed at WrestleMania. You know, the biggest stage that all the talent dream of being on? I wasn't there. And you know what? I know what one of you. I know what some of you are thinking. Oh, Charlotte, it's just one WrestleMania. Oh, Charlotte, you've been on 5 WrestleManias. No. I am a franchise player. I am a genuine superstar. And what I do in this ring is sacred to my family. And here's the thing. It wasn't my fault that I wasn't on WrestleMania. I wasn't on WrestleMania for things that I could not control. It's unacceptable. You think it was my fault that Asuka needed a tag team partner? No. You think it was my fault that my dad showed up on Legends Night on Monday Night Raw acting like a fool? No. You think it was my fault that Lacey Evans decided to get pregnant? And I didn't get to kick her ass in this ring? No! None of these things are my fault. It's not like I didn't try. Hell, I even challenged Asuka right here on Monday Night Raw for the Raw Women's Championship. Asuka didn't respond. You know what they say? Karma is a and I'm that. Sasha Banks, Bianca Belair, Natty, Tamina, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Mandy Rose, Dana, Naomi, Lana, Alexa Bliss. No one compares to me. Hey, you know what I realized for the first time after signing my WWE contract, I don't know, 7 years ago? After getting to sit at home and watch WrestleMania. No. I don't steal opportunities. I am the opportunity. I'm not apologizing for being that damn good. Because all of you are going to bow down to your 13th time women's champion. Yes. Yeah. No more little humble Charlotte. Nope, I'm that good. So I want all of you to show some respect. No, show some respect to what I have brought to this industry. Hell, I've dedicated years of my life to this business. Years. Tears, blood, and sweat. And what have any of you given me in return? Exactly. So enjoy your title match that I should have been in.
That is one serious mic drop there from Charlotte Flair. She says, I don't steal the opportunities. I am the opportunity. Show some respect what I brought to this industry.
And you can sense the emotion behind the words. There's a great deal of truth in what Charlotte Flair just said. She is tired of paying for the sins of others.
And it didn't stop there. So obviously this started even before the WrestleMania rematch between Asuka and Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship, just like how I thought that I had to predict right there, right then, because it was a surprise to me that Charlotte would actually show up. What happened in that match? What happened in that match with Asuka and Rhea Ripley? It was something that even I saw coming. It was just a matter of timing. And even in that timing that I saw that where the two women were paused on the outside, that's where it told me, bing, bing, get ready for Charlotte to show up. So we're going to get into that audio as well. And just to state that it wasn't a surprise to me. I was expecting, and even, the fact that Charlotte was going to intervene because it was typical. The way everything was going in that direction was typical. I think the biggest waste was to have Charlotte shoot before the match when she could have done it after the match. But whose fault is that? Management and creative.
Well, Rhea Ripley is aware of what happens. It's one thing to be a champion, but now you want to stay on top. Asuka can turn her, and Asuka now, the cover, a quick kick out there, won by Ripley, but she was surprised, and now takes that kick to the midsection. Catches Asuka here, now throws her down. Uh-oh.
Asuka looking for the armbar. Ripley trying to escape as quickly as possible.
Long legs of Rhea Ripley coming into play there, allowing her to break the hold. Oh, a couple of shots there with the elbow as Rhea Ripley is showing that she can use her arms and her legs to assert herself, and now throwing Asuka into the ring. Asuka brings herself to the top rope. Rhea Ripley doing her damage right now in the corner as Asuka's trying to use the hand to get her back. Misses wildly there. And now Rhea with a drop kick. And then dropping Asuka right down on the mat. What a strong move from Rhea. Limped.
Bad part of town right here for Rhea Ripley and Asuka.
Asuka able to push back and now pushes Rhea Ripley back again. Oh, look at Asuka. Wow. Here comes Asuka now. Oh, how about that shot against Rhea Ripley?
Modified DDT by Asuka under Rhea Ripley on the
Okay, so right now as they get up,
Asuka, this is remarkable effort as this is
and as they're holding on to each other, ding, 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 Charlotte, get ready for Charlotte. Oh, see, that was typical indication right there. I guess Charlotte wasn't, I think she was off cue for when she could have ran a little bit quicker and doused both of them by the steel steps.
That's a reminder. That is a reminder and a message from the Queen to the entire Raw Women's division that the throne still belongs to me.
The Queen had said, I don't steal the opportunities, I am the opportunity, and now that shot to Asuka.
Taking away that opportunity indeed for Asuka and the Raw Women's Champion Rhea Ripley.
Oh, just throwing around Asuka. Charlotte Flair is backing up her tough talk.
Charlotte Flair, the Queen, interrupting what had all the makings of a classic Raw Women's Championship matchup.
Come on, get your business confidence, man. Come on.
That's for Rhea Ripley as well.
Even the referee is trying to say it's over, Charlotte, but it's not over until the Queen says it is.
So it looks like Queenie is not holding anything back this time. Ever since she returned, February or March, to be Asuka's tag team partner, and then she misses maybe 3-4 weeks or so. Ever since the issues with that the company had with with her current boyfriend Andrade and former WWE superstar Andrade, and now she comes back as a heel. Look how much her humble babyface run lasted. Very, very, very short. And now they're trying to build this heel machine of a person that could actually get into the face of Asuka, but most importantly, Rhea Ripley. Because if you heard the keyword right there, oh, did you gain your confidence back? That all stems back to their match last year from WrestleMania, from which we saw the documentary of Rhea Ripley of how losing the NXT Championship to Charlotte Flair, that broke her confidence. And, of course, that left Rhea Ripley floundering for months in NXT afterwards. But then as she was going through a change afterwards, and that's when she started to rebuild herself up. And now the fact that she chose Raw, which I don't think it was by accident. I think she wanted to choose Raw because she wanted to do one thing, and that's to get back at Charlotte, and not getting back at her in a vengeful way, but to get back at her in all feelings and aspects of life to let her know it's like, yeah, you broke my confidence. That's not going to happen again. Now I am a bigger and better version of myself, and I'm holding right now the Raw Women's Champion, and I will assure you that this title is going to stay around my waist. So, bottom line is, I think that Charlotte is at her peak of heelism right now. This is just going to get started for her, while at the same time, Rhea Ripley is going to be a very formidable and strong Raw Women's Champion as long as the Queen is still around.
But the point I want to, what I want to point out that in Charlotte's promo, she's demonstrating what is normally the typical established wrestler, demonstrating that paranoia, that fear, realizing that like she says, she done so much, but like many other wrestlers, she doesn't want to be put aside. But the one thing she fails to understand, that in order for there to still be a business, you need new stars, because new stars, like, well, to quote Joey Styles, new stars are the lifeblood of the industry. So pretty much, nevertheless, is like, do I approve with how WWE handled Charlotte for the last 8 months? The answer is no, because yes, originally Charlotte was scheduled to face Asuka at WrestleMania, but what's done is done. I mean, we cannot take it into account. Yes, eventually Asuka was going to drop the belt, and why not? Why not Rhea Ripley? Rhea Ripley worked her butt off to make it to the big stage, and yes, last year after losing the NXT Championship to Charlotte, it was a blow for her, but she never gave up. She prowled on, and that's what she demonstrated why she is now the new Raw Women's Champion, because she worked her butt off. But the point is, and of course she mentioned Bianca Belair, who's now the new SmackDown Women's Champion as well. But this is pretty much the problem with certain talents. It's like they're taking their eyes off of the company and putting it on themselves. That is wrong. Does Charlotte have a right to gripe? Yes, she does. But it could only last her for so long, because no one's gonna take into account all her accomplishments. No one's gonna. I mean, we're not saying should we disregard her accomplishments? No. Should we disregard her accolades? No, because rightfully so. She did attain those accolades. She earned those accolades, but she has to realize that in order for there to still be a business, you gotta have new talent. You gotta have new rivals. You gotta have new stories to tell, and that's pretty much the thing. Because the more you build up new stars, you have fresh talent to work with, and that is one thing she needs right now. She needs someone who can take it up to her. Of course, there's several people that, including her fellow horsewomen like Bayley, like Sasha Banks, like the man Becky Lynch. But nevertheless, is that the more you have people dwelling themselves on the spotlight and less on the company, you beg for problems. You beg for failure. You beg to be casted off aside. But nonetheless, we'll see what is Charlotte Flair's true intentions.
Pretty much, bottom line is she's got to step aside in order for new faces to come in and get their piece. And that way, when there is an opportunity, Charlotte can get a chance at those spaces. That way there's new stories to be told. Because obviously there is a point where Charlotte is upset that the world of the women's division on Raw doesn't revolve around her that much for only just the merely 3-4 weeks. And then she feels that the world of the Raw women's division is upside down with her not a part of it. So yeah, I agree that yes, for there to be a business, she needs to step aside and let others come in, so that way there will be new, fresh matchups, new stories to tell, and just new rivalries. Because, God knows how long we're gonna see Charlotte and Asuka again, and for this new forwarding setup, I didn't even mention Asuka because I believe Asuka is going to be out of this picture again. So what I would definitely see is we're going to still see these three maybe in a triple threat match, and once that's done, Charlotte is still going to get at Rhea Ripley. So where's that going to leave Asuka? Out there floundering and doing something meaningless, unfortunately. But anyway, this thing is going to be very far from over, because I just found out today in the morning that this upcoming Monday for Raw, we will see the Queen Charlotte Flair go one-on-one with the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. That's one of the matches that's already going to be booked for this Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central on the USA Network. And as we move on with more stuff from Monday Night Raw, also one of the oddest things that I witnessed this past Sunday at WrestleMania involving Randy Orton, The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, and Little Miss Bliss. I can't say her actual name because of the gadget that I have right here, not that far away from me. Obviously, we're seeing something really odd, and I just threw my hands up and I gave up being interested in this storyline. Because now we're seeing on Raw that Little Miss Bliss has been consumed with the darkest power, and she feels that she can wield it at her own time and pace. And where does that leave Bray Wyatt in general, or The Fiend? From what we're seeing from Bray Wyatt's good side is that this is going to be a whole new fresh start for him. That left me like, what the am I watching here? So, yeah. There goes my hopes for that storyline. That's already done with. Dead in the water. It ain't going to go nowhere. Unless if you're going to do something satanic, well, then that'll be something that'll give my interesting juices revved up all over again. But nonetheless, we're going to jump to the very last thing, which is, of course, we witnessed MVP talking about what happened at WrestleMania. What is Drew McIntyre's next move? And obviously other people are coming into the picture, which to my surprise, these two individuals were successful in their matches this past WrestleMania weekend. And I'm talking about the Monster among men, Braun Strowman, and the Apex Predator, Randy Orton. Let's listen in.
Watched Drew McIntyre pass out. Unconscious. How do you think he feels today? Think he's walking around with his head held high? No. He can barely lift his head at all. He passed out from the intense pressure of the Hurt Lock. And if Drew McIntyre can't handle the pressure of the Hurt Lock, I ask you, who can? Who? I'll tell you. No one. Absolutely no one. No, humble's not your style. And it's working for you. It's working for Bobby Lashley. My goodness, look at you. Top of the world. I want you to keep on this path. Keep picking up Lashley. Keep growing that ego. Keep him in the fancy suits. Those pretty little sunglasses. You milk that cash cow. Keep making that money. Keep kissing that ass. I want his head as big as possible. I want him on the biggest pedestal he can possibly be on, because eventually I'm going to get my rematch. When I finally connect with that Claymore, I want him to fall as far as possible. And when he hits that ground, he's going to look up at the new WWE champion, Drew McIntyre. I expect you to honestly do. Choose your next words carefully, Lashley, in here. Fair enough. I think even you can respect this. Nothing around here is given. Wait a minute, man. Wait, you hold it true. You can take your ass to the back of the line and fight your way to the front to see the almighty champion. You know that's how it works. Why are you here, Mr. Strowman?
You know, for once in my life, MVP, I gotta agree with you. Drew McIntyre, you lost. That means you take your ass to the back of the line while the Monster among men steps to the front of it after the annihilation of Shane McMahon inside of that steel cage at WrestleMania.
Wait a minute, the line starts and ends with Bobby Lashley.
What is going on here? The Fiend, Alexa Bliss, they are finished. They are no more. That means no more mind games for yours truly, which also means that I have all the time in the world to focus on what it is I am truly great at, what it is I am the absolute very best at, and that is being the Legend Killer, being the Apex Predator, and being the Viper, but most importantly, being WWE Champion once again. Man, I tell you, gentlemen, hold on, guys, gentlemen, please. I can see exactly where this is going. Listen, everybody's making excellent points, which actually makes my decision very simple. Randy, Braun, Drew, the three of you will compete tonight in a triple threat match, and the winner will go on to face Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship at our next pay-per-view, WrestleMania Backlash.
Did I heard that right?
Yep.
Can anybody out there in the wrestling world tell me what is a WrestleMania Backlash? Because I only know of a Backlash, which is the pay-per-view, the following pay-per-view after WrestleMania. And I've seen some very good backlashes back in my day, especially the one in 2001 when they came into Chicago. And the main event at that time was one of the best main events ever to happen in the WWF at that time. And it consisted of Kane and The Undertaker versus Triple H and Stone Cold Steve Austin. And guess what? All of the main belts were on the line. That was an incredible match. That was an incredible main event. Kane and Undertaker, at that time, they were the tag team champions. Triple H, at that time, was the Intercontinental Champion. Stone Cold Steve Austin defeated The Rock at WrestleMania, and he became the WWF Champion. And the next night, they just beat The Rock brutally, and they formed the two-man power trip. Obviously, one of those unfortunate runs that even I believed in so much that the rest of the world thought that this wasn't going to last forever. Okay, so be it. But nonetheless, it was still something to try, and it did not resonate with the fans because the fans couldn't face the fact that Stone Cold was the heel, and they did not accept it, Stone Cold as the heel. They just didn't. Okay. But back to the main question. What is a WrestleMania Backlash? I guess I'll just say for what it sounds like. Garbage. Why even add the WrestleMania name next to Backlash? We all know that that's the pay-per-view right after WrestleMania. WWE doesn't know what the hell to do anymore. No. Unacceptable, man. Unacceptable. Okay, that's Raw. We're done with that. Yeah, we're done with that. Let's jump onto NXT now. Jeez, man. And I feel that we're already asphyxiated with a little bit of time to get onto everything. But nonetheless, let's jump into the aftermath of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole right after one of their stupendous matches that they had this past Thursday night on Stand and Deliver that took place and aired right on Peacock. And did you cut it at all or no?
Oh, I think I did, yes.
Well, if not, if you forgot what that consisted of, Obviously, I mentioned it in the beginning of the show, and we're going to listen into the audio.
You see these two men fight in the locker room, fight in their training facility. They try to run each other down with their vehicles. They've been arrested. I think the better question is, what are they not willing to do to each other?
And here we go. And right off the bat, there goes Paul O'Reilly.
This is the exact reason NXT will not be held accountable.
You would be nothing.
Something is awakened inside Kyle O'Reilly. Here's payback. This is the Savage Kyle. Second call by Kyle O'Reilly. He can't bring himself to do it. This one's spilling out all over the Federal Wrestling Center. Nothing like this has taken place here before.
I don't know how these two have anything left. Not again! There's only one last thing. Oh! There's sick, sadistic thoughts flowing through the brainwaves of Kyle O'Reilly.
I sold my soul for the Undisputed Era, and I want it back.
Oh! Through the chair! For the love of God! Kyle O'Reilly puts away Adam Cole. Take a look at the Capitol Wrestling Center. Standing ovation for two men, whether you like them or whether you don't, stood and delivered on the biggest stage in NXT.
Oh my God, be careful, take off. Oh my God. I don't take off. Stop telling me to take off. Okay.
So obviously that was the end of Stand and Deliver. We got to see Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly being attended right in the back of the ambulances. EMTs were helping both of these guys out, make sure they get to a hospital nearby. And as both ambulances arrived to the emergency room, this was what happened as both of them were being strolled in. And William Regal was there present, having to hear all of that was coming out of Adam Cole's mouth because he was still so evil-ridden and wanting to destroy, wanting to end the life and career of Kyle O'Reilly. My God, nonetheless, these two men, they were out to destroy each other. They were out to get rid of one or the other. And my God, I mean, the match was just out of this world, unsanctioned match. My God, it was just something else, to be honest. It was really, really something else. Other things that took place at NXT, we got to see that one of the new chicks from the Robert Stone brand actually stood up to Mercedes Martinez. She ended up having a match, and of course that was part of the women's division who just rushed in not that long ago, Jessie Kamea. It was a valiant effort from Jessie Kamea to actually stand up to Mercedes Martinez, but it was still not enough. Mercedes Martinez is still on the hunt to become the NXT Women's Championship. She wanted to get to Io Shirai, but now that we've seen Raquel Gonzalez become the new NXT Women's Champion, obviously there's a new target for Mercedes Martinez to focus on, and we're going to get to the one segment that we thought was a really cool, epic moment. Other things that took place, we got to see Killian Dane and Drake Maverick because of what happened at Stand and Deliver. They got a title shot with the tag team titles against MSK, and once again, MSK, they dominated the scene. A valiant effort also by Drake Maverick and Killian Dane. It was a stupendous match, but MSK showing why they are the hottest and the bust-ass tag team that they are and why they are still the NXT Tag Team Champions. Also, we got to see a promo with Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher saying that their next hunt should be getting at the tag team belts. We saw a video package on Saray, the newest recruit to NXT. She'll be coming into the fold starting next Tuesday on USA. One of the biggest, head scratchers that we witnessed was Roderick Strong coming in with his wife. We all know who his wife is. Obviously, one of the 4 horsewomen of the MMA. I'll let you leave your homework and tell you who it is. Well, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but you figure it out. They came in, and Roderick Strong just handed him an envelope to the GM, William Regal, and say, "I'm done," and walks away. And that's that. And it's like, okay, what's really going on? Other things that took place, we got to see a backstage interview with Zoe Stark. Mercedes Martinez comes in to see who was going to get the next shot at the NXT Women's Championship. Also, Imperium, one of the forces to be reckoned with in the UK, now dominating the NXT scene, stating that they are there to stay. One of the best and entertaining main events that I ever got to see in a long time. The Way finally made their group debut going up against the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Ember Moon, your favorite chick.
Mm-hmm.
Say her name.
Shotzi Blackheart.
Yes. Shotzi Blackheart teaming up with also Dexter Lumis and the Colossal Bronson Reed. It was an 8-person mixed tag team match. It was an incredible match. And surprisingly enough, it was Blackheart, Moon, Reed, and Lumis that actually took the win. One of the stealers out of that match, which was also a head scratcher, was seeing how Indy Hartwell was trying to get the attention of Dexter Lumis in the match as she was supposedly out and trying to steal a kiss from Dexter Lumis. But she ended up just getting carried by Dexter Lumis all the way to the back and give a wink like saying, "Yeah, I'm going to score." Like, okay, good luck with you on that. All right. But that is most definitely something that we got to jump in onto real quick because I still feel like, well, we had more battery time. One of the biggest shockers was what happened this past Tuesday as the undisputed cruiserweight champion, Santos Escobar, a perfect performance from this past middle of the week with Stand and Deliver that he had with Jordan Devlin. And now Kushida got a shot at the undisputed cruiserweight champion. Let's listen in.
In the lineage, the heritage in his family, saying his son will one day be a champion, much like himself and his father before him.
Escobar can take the next step in building his legacy tonight from the top rope of a Hurricane Rana. Kushida arriving in pain. Champion into the cover. Hook of the leg to retain it. Kushida again, just able to kick out at 2.
Escobar continuing to put on the pressure, but Kushida is still alive and is fighting for his life.
Wait for that Phantom Driver, countered by the challenger. Kushida inverted atomic drop. Kushida continuing. Hip toss roll through cartwheel drop kick.
Kushida snapped in there. This match is going to win.
Left right hand. PK kick to the arm. Kushida is rolling.
Kushida systematically dismantling that arm.
Waiting for the submission now is Kushida. Kushida trying to make the champion tap out. Escobar now negotiating his way free. Able to stand in reverse, break the hold for a moment.
Santos Escobar rolling at the moment. Arm strike to the jaw of Escobar. Escobar's in big trouble here.
To the top rope goes Escobar.
So much force behind that you can see the sweat beads flying off the chest of Kushida.
Oh, into the right arm again. Goes the challenger. Kushida now climbing to the top rope. Hooking up the champion. Escobar all the way to the top. Kushida off the top with the suplex. Locking in that arm one more time. Again, suplex. Shoulders down. Shoulders down. Escobar. Oh, my Lord. Escobar, foot on the rope. Oh, look at these kicks. Kushida getting the better end of the champion. Champion with the reversal. Challenger. Point.
That's the timing perfection.
Backstabber out of nowhere. Pinpoint accuracy by Escobar. Taking Escobar now with the final nail at Kushida.
Kushida right for the picking
Looking
team.
for the Phantom Driver. Escobar couldn't catch it. Countered by Kushida. Shoulders down. Shoulders down. Countered by the champion. What a counter it is. Near fall. Kushida cinches in.
Santos Escobar after a performance like that somehow knocking up new champion Kushida.
After 2 years of being a part of NXT, coming from New Japan Pro Wrestling, Kushida is the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Well deserved. I believe Kushida really deserved it. This was one of those things that should have happened, that was overdue for him, and I really wanted him from that back because he's that talented. He's that great of a performer. I mean, we've seen his stuff in New Japan Pro Wrestling as a one half of the Time Splitters. He represented that Back to the Future gimmick so well. And my God, man, they both had a very beyond decent cruiserweight match. It was awesome. It was phenomenal. But yeah, Kushida, he deserves it. He really deserves it. Congratulations to Kushida, the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion. Most definitely. One more thing before anything else, one more thing that took place at the top of the show, of course, during Karrion Kross, the new NXT champion, actually declared to the entire world, not just the NXT locker room, but the entire world, that you think you got what it takes to step up to Karrion Kross? Then by all means, do it. Nonetheless, we're going to jump on to the moment where Raquel Gonzalez, of course, gets her standing ovation from the NXT crowd as the new the new Raw Women's Champion. The new NXT Women's Champion. But there's also an added surprise to this. Let's listen in.
A year and a half ago was the biggest night in NXT history. NXT goes live on USA Network, and I was supposed to have my big debut. But I wasn't ready. I went home that night, and I swore that it would never happen again. When my opportunity comes, I am going to be ready. So I busted my ass to move faster, train harder, lift heavier. And a year and a half later, I stand here as your NXT Women's Champion. Without Dakota Kai, I don't debut at Portland. We don't become the first ever NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, and I sure as hell don't stand here as your new NXT Women's Champion. You know, for 14 months, we dominated the best women's division in the world. And all the respect to Io Shirai. She was a great champion. But the Raquel Gonzalez era has officially begun. Congratulations, champ. Felicidades, campeona. I'm here to formally introduce myself to you and the world. I am La Huela Loca. I am Frankie Monet. it has gotten a little bit shinier, a little bit bougier, and a whole lot better. And as you're at the top of my division, you'll be seeing a whole lot more of me. Oh, mi amor. You're lucky I'm in a good mood tonight. Because if you interrupt me like that again, this cute little poochie, I'm gonna shove him straight up your culo. Okay, cabrona. I will see you every single Tuesday, champ.
Wait a minute! This place has come unglued for the new Raw Women's Champion.
Welcome home to the champ.
The SmackDown Women's Champion has arrived. Bianca Belair, who made him at Night 1 of WrestleMania. From the origins of NXT to champions, expect the unexpected every Tuesday here on NXT.
That was an incredible moment, having to witness all current champions of the respective women's divisions holding on the fort of NXT, with Bianca Belair as the current SmackDown Women's Champion, Rhea Ripley as the current Raw Women's Champion, and of course the new NXT Women's Champion, Raquel Gonzalez. Obviously, these women have been together, have been grinding, obviously have been there for each other when they were together, and now that they're separate and having to dominate the scene in their respective women's divisions, obviously that's all coming to full circle for them to be holding on to their respective championships. It was one heck of a moment. Yes, the one thing that we haven't mentioned was, we got to see this past Tuesday the debut of Frankie Monet, who was formerly known as Taya Valkyrie, the wife of Johnny Nitro, John Morrison as well. What was his name in Lucha Underground as well?
Johnny Mundo.
Johnny Mundo, Johnny Telemundo. That should have been it. But yeah, I can't wait to see the dynamic of what's going to happen with Frankie Monet moving forward. Hopefully we get to see her in-ring debut on NXT for sure. And of course, what's that going to leave for Dakota Kai? I'm pretty sure she was left out, knowing the fact that she didn't have a championship to be celebrating with them ladies. But I expect for that HBK Diesel model within the women, and I'm talking about Kai and Gonzalez, to go into splits very, very soon. But that's NXT for you. We move on to AEW, and we are close to the grind, but we are getting to the very end. Dynamite, another incredible episode. AEW is still on par with what they do every single Wednesday night, and now Wednesdays are theirs to own officially. Last week was the last so-called Wednesday Night War, to say the least. Of course, that was dominated by NXT with their 2-night Stand and Deliver event, which was aired on USA and Peacock, and Thursday night on Peacock as well. But nonetheless, AEW and Wednesday nights is officially a Dynamite night, and you know what that means. I guess from what we got to see, pretty much, is the facts that we opened up the show with an incredible tag team match that featured the Young Bucks having to put their titles on the line with the number one contenders of Triángulo de la Muerte's Bastard Pac and Rey Fénix. It was an incredible, and I mean an incredible match. My God, these guys have been going back and forth. I mean, we know how all of these men roll once they're in the ring, and it's nothing more that we can say except, superly dynamic, and it's all that and more. I mean, look at that. Just flying around outside of the ring, doing suplexes in the ring. My goodness, it was just something. But the one thing I didn't count on was now that the Bucks have turned their heelish ways, they're going back to the old Young Bucks in a way. Now they got new outfits, almost looking like girls, especially with the headbands that are with thingies hanging on. Like, you're trying to look like you're a female or what? And on top of that, with the loudmouth jackal of all jackasses, Don Callis being out there, still running his mouth, but that's what he's really good at, right? Oh, destroy you.
Rebounding destroyer there by Nick Jackson. Their bodies everywhere. Damn. Don being a Winnipegger. We'll see that again, man. Hey, the story's got to warm your hearts. Have a look.
And if you're a female, and you're a Winnipegger.
Rey Fénix is back, not too shabby themselves. But right now, Matt Jackson rising to his feet. Rey Fénix may be done for the night. Yeah, I think so. He just was pulling himself all the way out of the ring here.
Although I got to admit, I love the shoes that the Bucks are wearing. The Dior Air Jordan 1s.
As great as Matt Jackson is, can he outslug? This is a battle that Matt Jackson's going to lose 10 times out of 10. There you go, staggering him away. A low bridge there by Matt Jackson. Suckered him in. Pacto hung on. Both men on the apron here. This is danger for both men. Big shot, staggered. Oh, look at that.
Look at this uneven move. Like doing a mirror match.
Oh my God. Stereo poison ranas on opposite members. Rey Fénix elevates over the super kick. They jumped into it. But Rey Fénix counters. Cutter on the outside.
Oh God, man. Just explosive delivery on all fronts from all four of these guys, man. Too much. Too much. Not a bad thing, but a really good thing. Yet, too much.
Somebody has got to get back in the ring for this thing to have any chance of ending. Rick Knox giving the 10 count. The legal man. Rey Fénix up to his feet. He's the only one. He knows this match cannot be won by countout. Fénix is the wherewithal as a veteran. No, he can't earn his money tonight. They can't win the titles tonight. If the adversaries are not in the ring, they're there now. Ray called Pac in. Pac is here in the left triangle. Last time we saw Nick Jackson's throat in his throat. Matt Jackson position on the top rope. Fénix got tagged.
Tomorrow he deserves a
He's
prize.
legal right now. Superplex, baby.
Oh, here we go.
Up on the top. Avalanche brainbuster. And now Ray Phoenix.
The frog splash from the legal man.
1, 2. Out. A 2 count only, and now Ray Phoenix tags out to Pack. You're taking Black Arrow.
Damn right. Here it comes.
Pack up to the top. If he hits this, we've got new champs. Black Arrow. 1, 2.
Ah,
Oh my God! He pushed
that
him
was so
around the
set up
great track
for it to be broken, or otherwise that would have been Pac and Phoenix's win right there.
Good luck there. That was lucky. That's what that was.
Jackson.
Right place at the right time.
Nick Jackson just dropped Ray Phoenix, and he's dragging his brother over the corner.
Make a tag, obviously.
Great strategy. The tag is made. Nick Jackson is legal, as is Pac. Trying to go to the corner, but hits the boot.
Amazing tag title match here tonight on Dynamite. Amazing resiliency, like you said, Don Callis.
Gotta hold on.
Oh, yeah.
Blow right there, Jackson. Oh, you missed that. His tag is
Phoenix.
oh, man, what a kick. That was something. Oh,
That was a low blow.
Nick Jackson just
Had to snatch the mask off of Phoenix, and that's how they won the match with a double super kick. Right, and then the smile of Nick Jackson. That is displaying the arrogance of old from the Young Bucks. Jeez, I missed those times.
That was money, gentlemen. Tony, if I may.
Yeah, look at the other tag teams, though, how deeply disappointed they are.
man, this is Callis and his team are getting this. I can't believe he ripped the mask off of Ray Phoenix.
That super kick as Phoenix came in, and then
And then just tosses it out into the crowd.
Phoenix
Man.
covered his face.
Really?
He couldn't even see the super kick coming. And the Young Bucks retain the AEW World Tag Team Championship. But there is
Nonetheless, it was a stupendous match. I did not like the finish. It was very nasty, though. I mean, yeah, it was one of those old school tactics. Snatch off the mask, super kick, and that's how we defeat them. And that was their decision, and it took the convincing of the marionette player in Don Callis to make the Young Bucks think that they belong where they should belong, and that's with Kenny. And they made the decision. And when being asked, as far as Hangman Adam Page was concerned, when they did that question in the back, he evaded the question. So it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out who's going to be next for the change. Am I right? Or am I right? And just to close this part of AEW out and to segue right into Impact, let's go into this one-piece video where the Elite is exiting the building with this piece called "And Just When You Thought You've Seen It All." And just when you thought you've seen it all. And just when you thought you've seen it all.
Come on. Listen, Good Brothers, Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, Don Callis. Clearly, you have changed the pro wrestling world again. Would you like a scoop? Here's the scoop. Just give me the microphone.
Oh. Now they're acting like jerks again.
If the wrestling world has learned one thing about all of us, it's this. Just when you think you've seen it all, you haven't seen anything. You see, when the Young Bucks came back in the fold, the greatest tag team of the last 2,000 years, when the Young Bucks came back to the family fold, it wasn't the end of the story. It's just the beginning.
We're listening to the interwebs, the radios, the podcasts, the people on the telly. They're telling me, "Why did you change, Kenny? Why did you change, Young Bucks? Why did you change?" We never changed. We just got sick of doing what you guys wanted us to do. When
We're sick of all you non-sport numbnuts fans wanting us to be just like you. We were never just like you, and from here on in, we're going to be just like us, just like we always were, because that's where you find the success, and that's why where we go, the gold will follow. God, you guys get me pumped up when you talk like that. Prince, you guys get me so pumped up.
Hey guys, I know this is fun, right? It's great, but it's not all just fun and games, right? Did you see the performance that we had out there? It's like matches of the years coming out of my damn ears. We're the best tag team in the world, and we are back. AEW Tag Team Division, you've been put on notice. SCU, Best Friends, Butcher and the Blade. I don't care what your damn name is. You want a shot at the Young Bucks? Well, I'll tell you this, guys. You got a BTE trigger with your damn name on it.
Because this is what it is. You wanted the old Kenny Omega, you got him. You wanted the old Young Bucks, and by God, you got them too. So, you learn one thing, you learn this. Be prepared to be surprised again.
Whoa!
Got him. Just ripping on the square. Got him. Just ripping on the square. Surprise.
Give it to him. That's why you don't have a dang
Oh, was that lame? I don't believe Don Callis even really super kicked the camera guy right. I would sell it if it was the Young Bucks, but since they're too damn lazy, they have to give it to Old Man Callis. Let me see if I covered everything before I move into that segue. And as we segue, and as we segue, and as we segue, and segue, and segue, and segue. Oh no, of course not. We should not include out the fact that Mike Tyson was a special enforcer for a specific match of one half of FTR. That was Dax Hardwood. Yes, I remember his name. And Chris Jericho's right. It's hard to tell them apart name-wise. Dax Hardwood faced Chris Jericho, of course. And it was an incredible match. And I love how they used Mike Tyson as the special guest enforcer on the outside because, of course, Sammy Guevara was on the outside and Cash Wheeler was on the outside. And only those guys can be on the outside for their respective guy. And at the end of it all, Chris Jericho won that match. So now we can easily segue into Impact Wrestling. And what took place this past Thursday, of course, we got to point out the press conference that took place because we're almost around the corner for Impact Wrestling's Rebellion, which will take place Sunday, April 25th on Impact Plus. If you're not subscribed to it, I would like to suggest that you should because there is a main event that should definitely not be missed, and that's the one with Kenny Omega, AEW World Champion, when he puts his belt on the line against the Impact World Champion Rich Swann. And yes, both belts are on the line, but we are going to see if it gets done. Kenny Omega becoming Mr. Belt Collector. Let's see if that is going to take place on that date. So let me see. Don't they got it in recap? I mean, this one is from beginning to end, but I don't want to. Let me see if they got it on a really small recap. No, they don't.
No, they don't.
Oh man, that's a bummer. Okay, so unfortunately, we're not gonna play the press conference because obviously that'll probably kill the rest of our battery. Oh my god, we suck. But nonetheless, in that press conference, you know, Impact was there to represent. Rich Swann was there early. AEW was there to represent. Tony Khan was there. But your delightful champion and Don Callis with Kenny Omega, they showed up whenever they feel like. They showed up like 5 minutes late. And then, of course, you know, his arrogant, cocky-ass self was telling pretty much Rich Swann, you don't belong here. You don't belong in this scene. This isn't you. And you're going to get your butt kicked. And you're going to be one-wing angel. Pretty much just to get to the bottom line. And then, of course, there was a a fight broke out and soon between the two men, and that's how the show ended because the press conference happened at the very end. But if you want to check out this press conference thing, check out Impact Wrestling on YouTube. They got the full segment of that press conference. That's why it's long as hell. So I definitely suggest that. Other things that have taken place, Jazz went on to official retirement, but the thing of it is, it looks like she's not going to retire for long if she's involved with the Impact Knockouts tag team picture. So it looks like we are going to see a tag team match after all coming up as well for Rebellion. And Sami Callihan keeps on pushing Trey Miguel's buttons just to get the worst out of him, but will this man succeed? Those are the three things that we're going to point out because obviously we're already running out of juice. My God. We're going to have to come up with a better battle plan for Saturdays. And SmackDown, of course, Cesaro was stepping up to Roman Reigns on the first segment. But yeah, Roman Reigns, of course, he's too important. He ain't going to give Cesaro the time of day. But nonetheless, he wanted a match with Roman Reigns. And at the end, he got a match with none other than Jey Uso. And my God, what an incredible match. I think that was the only good thing that happened, right?
Yeah. As much as we want to say we like to, but we can't because we have to recharge our batteries.
Well, and we're already at the point of the 2-hour mark, so we might as well just end it here. I apologize, guys, but that's all the time that we have, and we had so much to catch up. But nonetheless, we want to thank you guys for joining us. And we are going to think of a better strategy so that way the freaking battery killers just don't get us off after 2 hours. Nonetheless, we appreciate you joining us. Thank you very much for watching us. Thank you very much for watching the WrestleMania recap with us this past Saturday and Sunday. It was very appreciated. And, of course, the episode to the recap of Dynamite and Impact as well. So, for the one and only Jade, I am Ace Monex. Hopefully we get to see you next week and see how this following week of pro wrestling primetime nights, if it gets any better with how it got started. Until then, stay safe, mask up, peace and love worldwide. Have a good night, everyone. Until next Saturday night for another episode of Wrestling Weekend Recap.